Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and thank you for participating uh, during this webinar. Jazakumullahu khairan. So before we get through to the actual content of the presentation, we are continually receiving participants, mashallah, for this webinar. And we look forward to hosting more and more of you as we discuss this special project. So with that, I will open it up with a simple dua. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Jazakumullahu khairan. So as this is a webinar, for those that are familiar kind of with the Zoom platform, you can ask your questions directly in the chat. The Manzil team is here in the background and they're happy to answer questions. We can also label certain questions that we might want to answer, let's call it live, during the presentation or even at the end of the presentation or even after, based on the question and kind of the impact for the audience. So barakallahu fikum. So many of you may have heard that Manzil has been working diligently to launch what we like to call as Manzil Communities. Most of you know us for our halal mortgage program, our halal investment program, as well as our halal will services or estate planning program. And Manzil Communities is another vertical that we felt is of value and impact for the Muslim community at large. And what this means is that we are looking to not only support Muslims in the financing of their halal homes, but also create actual homes in a purpose-built community, as they like to say, that is centered around our faith. And when you think about the current ecosystem that Manzil has built over the last 5 years, we have directly impacted the financial well-being of our community across the country. We have created real estate wealth for our community, and you can see that here in this slide. We have impacted upwards of 10,000 Muslims across Canada to participate in a riba-free lifestyle, riba-free halal financial lifestyle, or an interest-free financial lifestyle, a usury-free financial lifestyle. And that's across the board, whether you're using our halal mortgage financing product, our halal investment solutions, or our card solutions that we had earlier. All of this helps support you being in a lifestyle that is closer to your faith, and that you're not settling on your faith in order to achieve that. We've distributed hundreds of thousands of dollars monthly on a monthly basis back to our investors when it comes to the Manzil Mortgage Fund, as well as all of the equity funds that our investors participate in. And over the last several years, that would have amounted into millions and millions of dollars in dividends, as well as growth and direct impact to their financial balance sheets. And so, continuing on that effort, we also want to ensure that we can provide real products, right? Physical, tangible products that support that home buying journey. You may or may not know this, but as of Census 2021, the most recent census that was put together by the government of Canada, Muslims today experience 50% less home ownership than the typical Canadian. And that's not because of our financial balance sheet. It's actually because of the fact that we don't have products that adhere to our faith that we can participate in that allows us to shift from a rentership model into a home ownership model. So that's number one. Number two, there are certain amenities, services, cultural sensitivities that we appreciate as Muslims and we want to surround ourselves with in order to participate into home ownership, right? And a lot of that has to do with the financing options, which would be available within this project, but of course, culturally appropriate design and amenities, and ensuring that you get to live amongst your community, right? These are your friends, these are your families, these are your brothers and sisters within this community, and ensuring that it is close to how you practice your faith, right? And that being a masjid, that would be next door to this project, walking distance, and we'll talk about kind of that a little bit later. And so all of this allows you to practice your faith reasonably, without having to compromise or settle on that at all, and within a community that is culturally common and identifiable towards each other. And so, with that, really is kind of the nemesis. Sorry, not the nemesis. The genesis of this residential condominium project that we're putting together with experienced developers that know how to start a project from A to Z in an effective and efficient manner and ensure that the Muslim community can live together amongst each other and practice their faith together in a very family oriented and culturally positive way. A lot of times people ask, well, you know, condo projects come and go, and they want to learn or better understand kind of the key uh, the key let's call it aspects, features, and benefits. And here we call them kind of highlights. First and foremost, this project will be under Tarion warranty, right? So this means that you have protection against construction defects in year one, year two, and year seven. If any of you have bought a new home in the past, you would have experienced a similar process. And this ensures comfort in the project. It also ensures reputation. All the deposits will be fully insured by a large surety company, right? So this is part of the process of putting together a project like this. You want to ensure that there's trust, that there's reputation, that there's credibility behind this project. And of course, us as Manzil, we're putting our name behind this project. And if anyone knows, we take reputational risk very, very highly, right? We want to ensure that anytime we put something out there, that we can see it through to the end and ensure a positive experience by the community, so that when we repeat it, across the country, everyone will have that comfort knowing that Manzil, as a brand, as a company, is behind the project, and they know that these projects will get done. When we look at kind of what are some of the differences that will be available in a project like this versus a conventional project that you typically see? We want to ensure that these amenities and these features and benefits are attractive to our community, and that includes common prayer rooms for both men and women, halal-friendly gathering spaces, family-oriented indoor and outdoor recreation areas, and of course, culturally considerate suite upgrades that would be available as part of the design process as you go through the purchase of these units. And it is in a very ideal location, right? So this is at the intersection of Lawrence Avenue between Midland and Brimley. in Scarborough. It steps to Lawrence East Transit Station. It's near to Scarborough Town Center, local schools, masjids and parks, and very close to Wexford and Thompson Memorial Parks. And as I had mentioned previously, literally steps to the masjid, which is why it gives the religious score 100, right? So very easy access to biking, walkability, transit, public transit, and of course all of the halal restaurants and shops that everyone is used to experiencing. When we look at the community amenities, we're really focusing on ensuring that these are spaces that are attractive, that adhere to our faith, and of course that we would be proud to participate in, whether it be the common prayer rooms, of course, separate for men and women, halal-friendly private and community spaces, indoor and outdoor recreation spaces that are very family-oriented, and of course, table stakes when it comes to appliances that are energy efficient and finishes that are sustainable, and let's call it very efficient and lead within kind of the lead engineering standards. Culturally considerable upgrades that would be available on an option or an upgrade basis for those that may be looking for them. And so, all of these are, as we say, towards the purpose-built amenities and features that we want to ensure that our community has access to. Uh, Floor plans and pricing, we like to say we're a very transparent company, and so we want to ensure that when we provide facts and figures, we have done the homework. And so here, based on kind of today's pricing, and this is again an all inclusive pricing. So what does that mean? It includes obviously HST because every new build has HST attached to it. This would include one parking spot as well as one storage unit. And so this way you're not getting the surprises of, well, this is the base price, parking is extra, storage is extra, so on and so forth. And so we want to come to you with all-inclusive pricing so that there aren't any sticker shocks along the way or maybe on closing because now you wanted a parking spot or now you wanted a storage or a bike or a locker added to your unit. And so you'll see that one bedroom started around 683,000, and we are focusing on a number of or an increased number of family oriented units, 2 bedrooms, 2+ dens, and 3 bedroom units. And again, based on the number of reservations that we get and the type of units that people are focused on, for example, let's say 100% of the reservations are like want 2 bedroom and up. We may then go back to the drawing board and say, well, let's get rid of the 1 bedrooms, let's get rid of the 1+ dens, and provide or increase more 2 bedrooms and dens, and 3 bedrooms. So there's complete flexibility here with the developer and the builder to ensure that the type of units that are available are accommodating the type of people that want to participate in this purpose-built community. And a lot of people ask, well, why pre-construction, right? Why not just build this thing now and allow us to move in today? Well, you get the benefit of reserving at today's pricing. Future pricing may always fluctuate. Usually it tends to move in a increased direction, so it'll be much more expensive than it would be today. You'll have a deposit schedule. So for those that may not have the 25% down payment today that would be required to participate, in a condo or get the financing available, you'll be able to make deposits along the way, so that as your savings increases over time, come closing, you'll have the 25% that'll be available to you. You get the benefit of carry-on warranty and deposit insurance, right? So this is all to protect you as a purchaser from day one, not only on the deposit side, but when you move in, we get insurance and warranty available to you just in case there are any defects from the builder. And you also have the ability to plan your move in. Not everybody is ready to move in today. Not everybody is living in the neighborhood today. And so, a lot of people want to be able to scope out the schools in the neighborhood, scope out, the amenities in the neighborhood, the parks, the transit, the restaurants, the local shops, and get familiar with that neighborhood. And it may not be on an immediate basis. And then, of course, you're investing in a values aligned community, right? So you're participating in people that speak like you, that look like you, that think like you. They're all wanting to participate in a community that where commonalities are all together, right, and are aligned. And of course, the benefit to you participating in this project is that Menzel will be able to provide the financing at closing, right? Everyone has to get pre-approved. So this isn't a scheme where, just because you put a reservation or a deposit towards this pre-construction that you automatically get financing. It's not a guarantee. You still have to qualify based on income, but you do get the priority, right, within Menzel's financing program to be able to have financing available on closing when the project is online and up and running. Again, for those that don't know, Menzel's financing program is 100% riba free. There's no interest. These are all profit based mechanisms via our Musharaka program. Our agreements are transparent and fair. And you're going to get the guidance from Menzel's team every step along the way. And finally, of course, it aligns with your faith and the financial goals that you're trying to achieve. So just some quick FAQs that we have experienced based on kind of once we launched the website of this project. Everyone asks, well, is this a Sharia compliant financing model? Yes, it is. It's certified. We use a Musharaka based transaction model. You can go to menzel.ca/Musharaka to learn more about how that works. We have our certifications online, and our fatwas are available online under the certifications tab. And all of that has been available since day one, since we launched in 2020. Deposit security. We've already talked about this, but we'll reiterate it here too. Every deposit is fully insured and part of the Tarion enrollment. And so you have no issues worrying about whether you may lose your deposit or not. It has to be held in trust by a law firm. And of course, it'll be fully insured under the Condominium Act, and the project will be Tarion enrolled. What happens if there's any project delays? Well, Tarion warranty has mechanisms for that, right? And so this is the reason why new builds and new projects like this enroll under Tarion, but it also protects the consumer and ensures that they are not being delayed more than necessary. Are non-Muslim buyers allowed to participate? Absolutely, right? Everyone is welcome. This isn't just exclusively for Muslims. We are, of course, marketing this to our community, our clientele, and we want to make sure that they get access to this project no different than anyone else. But of course, this is geared towards the Muslim community. And what are the move-in timelines, right? So the move-in timelines will be shared as construction phases are confirmed. This is, of course, kind of a preliminary assessment to better understand the demand, for a project like this within our community. And as the demand increases and we move from phase one to phase two of this project, we will then be able to share what those timelines look like. But generally speaking, we would look at like a 3 to 5 year turnaround time when it comes to a multi-hundred unit project such as this one. And finally, right, like why would we do it now versus later, right? So you want to secure your priority. You want early access to preferred unit selection. You want access to best pricing, right? As this project starts to come online and starts to have its legs moving forward, pricing will only increase. And of course, there's only limited availability. You know, when we look at the location of the project, the number of people that live and are associated with this community from a Muslim perspective, there are about 20,000 Muslim families in this neighborhood, and there's only 550, upwards of 550 units available. So this is only about 2% that would be available to the extended Muslim community within Scarborough, and in particular this part of Scarborough that's associated with this masjid. So, there isn't many units to be able to fulfill everyone within the community. And so this is your chance to ensure that you get access and priority access as part of this project before anyone else. So what are the next steps? You can reserve your unit today by filling out a reservation agreement, and links will be sent following this webinar, and it will be shared by email. And you can also schedule a one-on-one consultation with our real estate team to better understand the project, to better understand what's required of you along the way to be able to secure your unit today. So Jazakum Allahu khairan for your participation. We're happy to take questions now as the main part of the webinar is closed, or let's say has wrapped up. So happy to open up the floor, and maybe Abdul Mateen, you can kind of navigate that if there are any questions from anybody. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Jazakallahu khair for that presentation. Yeah, so we've got three questions at the moment. So before we jump into those, just a reminder to everyone at the bottom of the screen, you should see a little Q&A tab, and you can submit your questions there. And somebody from our team will either respond or will respond live. The three right now we will respond to live. So, Doc, when are you offering similar projects in other cities, specifically Ottawa? So I think this is more like, what is the long-term plan?
Yeah, so the long-term plan is to replicate projects like these across the country. This project specifically is what we like to call a pilot project. So, Alhamdulillah, I would say that it's quite fortuitous that we were able to find land really close to this masjid. Again, walking distance to this masjid. And we saw that it was a project that is quite feasible. And considering that the community is quite strong, we have high conviction and faith that this project will sell out and we will be able to launch it. And so when that happens, this then becomes the example for us to replicate across the country, especially in markets like Ottawa or across the GTA or even in other provinces. And so that really is our long-term goal, is to not just do one, but continually do them for communities that are looking for, a purpose-built project such as this, so that people can live together amongst each other, having the same faith and having the same, type of lifestyle.
Jazakallahu khair. The next one is, what would a typical payment schedule look like for deferred payment for the down payment of 20%? How much will a person be expected to pay to book something in the minimum?
So yes, we're expecting a minimum down payment, usually for new projects like this that are pre-construction, around 25%. And there will be a payment schedule. So typically what you'll see is like 5% on day one, like for you to sign the agreement. And then usually it'll be like 5% within 30 days, another 5% within maybe 6 months or 180 days, and then another one within 360. We're still discussing that internally in terms of what's the best approach here, and do we extend that deposit timeline? So do we go beyond a year, and maybe we do it more monthly versus like in larger chunks within shorter periods of times? Like a lot of people, that are used to pre-construction projects, not here in Toronto but outside of the country, they find like a 1% payment plan, over the next 20 months, for example, right? So you're paying 1% per month for the next 20 months. And that creates more flexibility, but it's also more of a consistent payment over the next 20 months. So these are all things that we're looking at doing. Again, trying to take into consideration our community, take into consideration, as much flexibility as possible, so that you still meet the required down payment before closing. And then even on closing, you can actually bring more down payment if you wanted to lower your monthly payment, and have a smaller mortgage by the time you move in.
Jazakallahu khair. Um, the launch timeline. Did we mention the launch timeline?
The launch timeline, okay, so there's a couple of things that have to happen in order for the project to be officially launched, right? And so one is obviously people we've already have 500 signups, I believe, with respect to interest of the project. Phase two of that is, well, are you actually serious enough to put a $5,000 reservation deposit, right? And this is fully refundable. And so if we get, 90% of the units, so I think there's about 560 or 568 potential units between two towers, and we can get 90% of these reserved with a $5,000 reservation deposit that is fully refundable and put into a trust account, then this gives us confidence to move forward with the purchase of the land and actually move forward with the development and the construction of the project. So this is what needs to happen in order for us to say we're going to actually go live with the project. And then, of course, there will be a full construction schedule with respect to the building of the two towers and when we expect closings or the occupancy of these units to be.
Jazakallahu khair. There's one that I missed. It was what happens if your family income is low and want to purchase a unit considering how rent is expensive overall?
So you basically qualify based on your income, right? This is how you would qualify in getting the mortgage. So if your low income doesn't allow you to qualify for a mortgage appropriate to any one of the units price point, then there's nothing we can do. Otherwise, you could bring a larger down payment in order for you to fulfill the difference between what Manzil would give you as a mortgage and the purchase price. So, for example, let's say you bought a unit for $700,000 and your income only qualifies you for 300,000 in terms of a Manzil halal mortgage, you would have to come up with the $400,000 as a difference as down payment on closing in order for the deal to be closed and for it to go through.
Jazakallahu khair.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Uh,
There's a couple of questions by Zaim I see here. So, can we buy through our business or corporation? Yes, you absolutely can. That's not a problem. And what if we don't want to take a mortgage and buy directly, inshallah? Meaning, I'm assuming that you're saying you want to buy it in cash. You can absolutely buy it in cash. Like, you're not forced to take a mortgage with Menzel. If you say, I have the cash, I have the deposit today to participate, and I have the cash on closing, you can certainly do that without a mortgage. There's no problem with that.
Amazing. And then
Uh,
would you
this,
consider making
yeah,
rental options? People in our community would never afford this.
yes. So this is actually part of the discussion in terms of how would we launch this project. And again, it depends based on demand, right? So if we have demand that basically tells us that both condo towers will be sold out, then we will just move forward with both towers being condominium units. However, if we only have demand enough for one, we actually have the flexibility on this project to turn the other tower into a rental building that Menzel would own and manage, to allow for kind of a mix, right? So one tower would be designated as owner occupied and owner owned, and the other one would be owner occupied but as a rental or Menzel owned, right? So you would be renting from Menzel Communities on that project. The other option here is actually purchasing the condo and you renting it out to the community. So there's nothing wrong with you as looking at this as an investment for yourself, and wanting to rent it out to the community, to support the community who may not be able to afford the 20% down payment or the monthly mortgage payment.
Okay. And then there's a question about potential condo fees.
Yeah, that's a good question. My understanding is that condo fees might will be probably in the 50 cents to 60 cents per square foot range. We're really focused on ensuring that condo fees are low, by ensuring that the amenities are not expensive amenities, right? So what do we mean by that? Is we don't want to have amenities that are super expensive, such as like pool, or other services that would run the maintenance fee costs really high. So we're trying to keep it very reasonable, and working with the community to ensure that we're providing amenities that they would be using on a high utility basis, but also ensuring that maintenance fees and condo element fees are low.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. I think there was a question in there about sending this slide deck. On the Menzel Communities webpage, you can find the brochure, which actually has all of this information. Then attendees will also receive a follow-up email. So if you do have other questions, feel free to ask there. Um, we
You want to?
will
We can also send the link again for people to get the brochure.
Yeah, it'll be in the follow-up email. It's also if you go to the Q&A and you check the answered, it's there. There's also inside the brochure, there's also information about the neighborhood, right? So you can see what is around, right? The hospitals, the grocery stores, banks, the masajids, etc. So if once you look through that brochure, all of that's in there too, alhamdulillah. Um, we'll stay on for about 5 more minutes if anyone wants to ask questions. But if not, Jazakallah khair for joining us. Um, we're super excited and super honored to be building with all of you and for you, and we hope that, inshallah, we do our best.
Yeah, and barakallahu feek, Abdul Mateen, for your comments and your sentiments. I think final remarks on my end is, at the end of the day, Alhamdulillah, Menzel is in a privileged position to be able to attract people that want to support the community with projects like this. And the only way that this happens is obviously making sure that the community comes together and says we want stuff like this. I've been hearing that projects like this are in high demand. I always hear it about it from the community that they want housing that is built around them, around their lifestyle, including masjids and Islamic schools and Islamic community centers. This is this is something real that we can move forward with, and it can be a beacon and an example to show not only the Muslim community across Canada, but even to show Canadians in general what can be done when we come together, with our resources, and our faith, to be able to put something together like this. And Menzel is happy to play a role in that. And so with that, I would say, for those that participated today, barakallahu fikum for taking the time and for, listening attentively and asking questions. But also, this is an opportunity for you to share this project with your friends and family members that may be wanting to participate, and have them reach out to us. Have them ask the questions. We have a web page on our website, menzel.ca, that discusses the Menzel Communities initiative. and this project specifically, you can download the brochure, you can sign up to learn more. And we are having another webinar on Sunday, inshallah, for those that missed it today. And we will be emailing everybody about that next opportunity. But we're very excited to launch this project, and we can only do that with those that want to participate in having a halal financial and home lifestyle. So barakallahu fikum, and we hope that we can continually serve this community moving forward.
Okay, sweet. Jazakallah khair. If there are no more questions, we'll end the webinar. And then you guys can always reach out to us through email, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Barakallahu fikum.